WebGL or WebGPU, but there is abstractions. And the first layer of abstraction is called Vue.js. Now, Vue.js is like now 15 years old, so it's a very mature library. And it's basically the default library to create 3D experience and using the GPU in the web environment. And yeah, it was created by Mr. Doob, has tons of stuff in GitHub. And yeah, now this is the engine. There are other engines like Babylon.js and Play Canvas, OGL. There are others, but this is the one that we are going to use it now. And also is the one that Tres.js use under the hood. Now, Tres.js you can think as the perfect fusion between Three.js and Vue.js, and basically allow you to declare this 3D experience in a declarative way using all the power of Vue. What I mean for this is applying some reactivity, like dividing logic in components, stuff like that. We are going to see this in a bit. Was created by Álvaro Saburido. Yeah, we are going to see the code now. Now, before jumping straight away, we need to understand something very important, and it's the fundamental of 3D. Every 3D experience needs at least one scene. This basically acts as a container. We put all the stuff there, all our 3D objects, our cameras, all the effects live there. We can have more than one. This is advanced, so we need at least one. We need a camera, yes, act as our eyes, right? The most common one is the perspective camera, which imitates how our eyes works in the sense of object far away looks smaller. There are other type of camera, but yes, we need at least one. Same, we can have more than one, but we're not going to cover that now. We need the renderer, which is our engine, the one that connects JavaScript with the GPU. So it's very important. We can tweak these kind of things, but now in this example, we are not going to do it. But yes, we need at least one renderer, then an object. It's not everything is blank, right? Everything is dark, not very funny. And we are going to see how an object in 3D is composed in the next slide. And we need the render loop. The render loop basically is the one who creates interactivity and animation. Again, I put optional there because technically you don't need it. You can create a beautiful 3D scene, but will be like an image. So we actually don't do this because it's easiest just to put an image, right? So it's optional between quotes. Very important, this is multi-platform in the sense of this same principle here is applied to other platform outside the web browser, in the sense of Blender, you see if you go to C++, C# using the same idea, same with, I don't know if you know, Unreal Engine, Unity, all that is based in this idea. So it's very important to know this principle. And the object 3D are composed mainly by two things. The first one is the geometry, which basically are triangles. Triangles are amazing. We love triangles. GPUs are extremely well to handle triangles, and triangles has a lot of mathematical properties to help us define, make queries on the surface, and etc. We can see that we got the same model here, in which this is like high poly. More, of course, more points means more details, but also means like more power, more data to process, more weight in the model, etc. And here we got a low poly. We have vertices, the points here. We got edges, right? And we got the faces, which is the triangle per se. There are techniques to try to make this one look like this one using texture, but this is a little more advanced, so I don't want to cover this one here. Now, to the code. Here we got a very simple example of how to define a box geometry, which is basically a cube, in using plain 3.js. We basically import it. We pass some property to the constructor, which is width, height, and depth. And we, of course, we instantiate it, right? What is the idea of Tres.js? We do the same thing, but in a Vue component. right? We can have the arguments prop here, which is the constructor, or we can pass individually using each property. Now, the advantage of this is that these numbers here are reactive, which with the Vue reactive. Now, of course, you can know that we don't have imports. Again, a reactive property, and of course, it's less code, it's more maintainable. The same idea is applied to the materials, which is the second thing that we need for creating our 3D object or mesh of Google. And basically the same. We import it, we instantiate it, and we pass some properties, for example, in this case, the color. And again, with Three.js, we got the same idea of the component, and we pass the color. Fantastic. Now, materials act as our scheme. We can think as a scheme. They define how the light interact with the model, what property, for example, if it's a metallic object, if it's a mirror, if it's more like plastic, right? What specular amount of light has to reflect the model, or this kind of stuff. Apart from other stuff like putting texture there, which is like image that surround an object, etc., etc., etc. Very powerful concept. Let's go there. So our 3D mesh would look normally something similar like this. We import the geometry, the material, the mesh. We instantiate, as we see in the previous slide, and then we instantiate our mesh, pass our geometry, material, and we can, for example, apply some transformation. In this case, we are applying moving our object in the z-axis 5 units positive. It's important, it's units, not meters, centimeters, are units, like in SVG, similar. And we add our object to our scene. Obviously, the scene is previously defined, but you got the idea. Now, in Three.js, we can see that straight away we have less code. We can apply the transformation straight away in the same line, right? Of course, this is reactive, and we pass the two components like geometry and materials as a slot. And what it look like this? This is like, yes, this is like a Vue component. So we can apply all the logic. If we have, for example, logic in the render loop or events like click or hover, stuff like that, we can apply and abstract all that logic in a beautiful Vue component. So we got a better reusability. And now the last one is the render loop. The render loop is similar to the stop motion, and I am going to come here with my friend here. I don't know if you can see my screen, my face, but basically is kind of like stop motion again. It's like you take a photo, moving a little, take a photo, moving a little, take a photo, moving a little, take a photo. That is the idea, right? It's pretty easy. Now, of course, we are in a computer environment, and we got normally 60 frames per second, which is we execute that logic or that photo 60 times per second. Normally, if you have a gamer computer, you can have 120. Yeah, the browsers now come with this request animation API, which is created by this purpose. It's available in all the browsers. Is amazing, and comes thinking in the painting model in the browsers. Okay, we can define these ones in a plain, for example, Three.js, like we call a function, we define our request animation frame, and then we pass a function recursively. In this case, if you're using Three.js vanilla, we basically render our scene using the engine, and we pass the scene and the camera. In Three.js, we got way more power because we got a composable called useLoop, and we can have here, for example, we got the on before render. This is the most normal, but also we can have on after render, or even on render, which is we take control. Again, these are a little more advanced stuff. It's just, don't get confused. It's just we have a lot of power. And basically what they say is we execute logic here before the execute the render, or after, or in the render. We can even here pass a property and say which order we're going to execute this logic. In the sense of, even if we have an on before render, we can have a on before renders logic execute before another on before render. This is a little confused, sorry, but that's the main idea. And even in our functions here, we got properties like delta time and elapsed time, which basically control how our scenes look in different devices, because it executes the render in time, based on time, not in frame per second. A little more complex, again, ignore me. But yeah, we got a lot of power here. Now we got everything, I think it's time to make a live coding. So we're going to have here, and this is our simple application. And I hope you can see well the characters there. If not, just tell me, and I'm going to go ahead, increase the font size. Okay. Now, it is a very, very simple application, and for time's sake, I already installed all the dependencies. We are going to use the 3.js core, the CentOS, Three.js, and yeah, basically that is all. Something that I always forgot is that, okay, let's zoom in a little. What about 22? I think that is better. Okay. What I was saying, something that I forgot is that one of the most powerful and useful thing about 3.js is that as it uses 3.js under the hood, if you update 3.js, you don't have to update 3.js because get updated automatically. That is fantastic. So that means that you are always to have the last version of 3.js. That is fantastic. Sorry, I always forget to mention that. Okay. We got in our at the view, we got our template. Basically, it's a bunch of normal HTML, right? This is created with Bulma. So tell with that, and this is the template. So thank you for that. And yeah, there's nothing special here, just plain HTML like we normally do. And we are going to apply some transformation here. And the first one is apply some transparency to the template, right? I believe, in fact, this is not necessary, but just, let's just go ahead. I hope Copilot help me, because sometimes Copilot not very useful. Let's just put one. Okay, that is all that we need. And now we are going to start to adding our scene. What we are going to do here in this part is basically put our canvas or 3D scene behind the HTML, right? Now, this is important. It's not the only way to do it. You can do it the other way around. We are not going to consider things like scroll and stuff like that because they are a little more advanced, but now we're going to just apply a hero, okay? A hero in the background. So we are not going to interact with it. We can click it because it's behind, but yeah, follow me. Now, I am going to be lazy, sorry for that, and go to the 3.js documentation, pressing here, and go straight away to your first scene, same thing, and going back, I'm going to basically copy and paste this example. I am going to create a div here, paste an example here. This is going to be a class of canvas wrapper or something like that. And then here, let's see, Copilot, canvas, amazing Copilot. Now, it's basically I am setting this wrapper in position absolute, top 0, left 0, all the screen. All the screen, I'm setting index -1. I need to remove this one because that doesn't help me. And of course, I need to import the tres canvas. And voila, easy peasy. We got our 3D in the background, right? Now, let's inspect a little this one, what is happening. We basically got our, what it is, I think is here. We basically got our canvas, and everything that we are going to build or paint is live in this canvas. It's a normal HTML canvas here. And all the transformation, all the objects that we add, cameras moving is there. Now, Let's continue and try to add more fun stuff because, to be honest, a donut is not that quite amazing, right? So let's go. First, we can see that we got the perspective camera, and it's looking not straight away from the donut. It's like this position basically is 3 units in the x-axis. Let me just highlight that. X-axis, then 3 units to the y-axis, and then 3 units to the z-axis, which is basically 3 to the right, 3 to the top, and 3 backward. And something important here, the center of the scene, or the center of this coordinates, is exactly the center here of my viewport. It's not like in CSS, which is the top. No, it's here in the center. Now let's just change here. I'm going to the look the dollars right away, and y and out 5. Yeah, okay, we got it. We are in the right position. Let's create a component. Here we are going to create a new file of the experience.view. Here I already got view empty. Here I'm going to paste my donut just to check that everything is working. And here I just import the experience. Fantastic. Okay, everything is working. We got our donuts here. Let's choose also put the background a little more dark, because that donut is not very. Now we are not going to consider any accessibility things. This is a demo, so yeah, another color will be preferred. Okay, a little bit. Let's go. Now, the funny part will live here. And we are going to start with a little interactivity, with a little simply. What I am going to add is going here to the trace documentation and coming here to this package in the ecosystem is Cientos. I'm going to talk about the ecosystem in the next slide when we go back to the slides. But basically, Cientos is another package that comes with ready-made abstraction for Three.js. This is fantastic because it gives us a lot of DX, right? Developer experience for us. Now, if I want to, for example, add what about and sky, we got a component sky here. And basically I just using, importing, right? And then adding. It's as simple as that. We got things like smoke, contact shadow, precipitation, which is basically imitated rain and snow and stuff like that. We got even water. So we got a bunch of stuff here, just as you check it out. And we are going to use, in fact, let's start by something simple and go with stars. Yeah, let's just, I'm lazy. I am going to copy this one. I don't need all the control and just drop this one here. And if we go to our scene, I hope you can check it out, that one. But yes, we got our stars here. I hope it looked good in the stream. So let's go. What about, let's just drag and drop another one just to add a little more of interactivity, which is this one. I love it. Create this parallax effect. Consider the mouse position. Oh, why not? Just let's copy and paste here. Right. And if I do that and we come here, we can see that our donut is moving. Now, it's a little too much. Why we just don't come in here and tweak these parameters a little. Oop, here we are. Now you can see that the donut is moving in our position. Now let's just come here. And what about, I just wanted all to be exact same thing. That's a little strong. What about 2? Fantastic. Now, let's actually go and add something more cool. And what about a 3D object? This is a very fantastic page called Sketchfetch. And as you can see, it comes with a tons of 3D free objects that you can just download and using in your product. And here we got a very nice planet created by this guy. Yeah, but there are tons of models here. So I would check it out if you like these ones, to just go and get lost in the thousands of examples here. Now, I already downloaded the planet here. You can see that it's very big. Yeah, I got an extension to actually review the model, but it's not it's just an extension in the VS Code. And we are going to add this to our scene. The first thing is just removing my best mesh, coming again to CentOS, again, because there is, of course, an abstraction made for us. And we are going to use the GLTF model. Now, if I come here, I just put the path, which is, planet.glb. Of course, I need to import this one. And if we got it, okay, we got it. Sorry, something very important, as we are trying to sync two different words, the 3D words and basically the feed word. Sometimes this happens, so it's just a matter of reload, because the whole model reload doesn't sometimes get lost, so we just need to reload the page. Yeah, so let's go. It's a really large planet or a really large model, so why not apply some transformation here? And this is going to be something like really small, and here it is. And as simple as that, we got our 3D hero scene using Vue.js. Of course, there are tons of things that we can do here, like passive reactivity or props or many stuff. I believe I got a little more of time, so why we just try to add something else? But the people say, yeah, okay, let's just try to add something more. We are going to try to make our stars in the background a little rotate. And we can do this as applying a stars ref here. Let's just have the reference. Then const stars ref, and this is going to be a shallow ref, just for performance reasons. And then I need to import shallow ref. Suspense, I don't need it. Sometimes Copilot is really useful, sometimes not that much. Okay, let's do this. I like to copy, paste everything. And what we are going to do here is just coming to the composable use loop, right? And then const before render, and this is going to use the use loop. And then on before render, we are going to apply a rotation in my stars in the y-axis. I think I need instance here. And we can I hope you can see it. We can see that the stars in the background are moving. I hope you can see it. If not, yeah, it's as simple as that. So as you can see here, or what I want to show you really is option A is it's not that difficult to start creating this experience in 3D. It's actually really easy, and we are focusing the developer experience in this part. Second, these are just Vue components, which is amazing, right? It's like everything that you know already, like temple ref or all the stuff are applying here. Yeah, it's just go ahead and check it out. Now, just to finish, I'm going to go back here. So yeah, okay. One of the advantage of Three.js is that we got an ecosystem, which is not only Three.js, it's also a whole ecosystem of different packages that are built thinking in Three.js, like CentOS, the one that we saw. We got Nux, right? Obviously for Nux. Leches, which is a package that help us to debug our scenes. Post-processing, amazing package to add effect after the scene is rendered. And of course, we got more in development, like physics and path tracer, which is a realistic technique, AR, XR, and much more. Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much. My name is Jaime. You can call me Jaime. Everyone call me Jaime, so don't worry. If you have, if I can help you absolutely anything about 3D interactive graphic design, just ask me. I live in UK, but I am Venezuelan. That is why my English is a little weird. And these are my social media. Yeah, lastly, I'm sorry about the blue sky, guys. I couldn't find the icon here, so so yeah, forgive me about that, but this is the right link. Yeah, thank you so much, and yeah.
Thank you, Jamie. Amazing topic, by the way. We actually got one question in the chat right now. Maybe we'll have some more. What the plugin is that? I mean, the Prince is asking about the plugin which is able to show some 3D models in your VS Code, as far as I understand.
Oh, good. Okay. That is a very good question. Let's check it out. Oh, here it is, the first one, 3D preview.
3D preview, simple as
Yeah,
that. Okay.
as simple as that.
I wonder if there is some alternative in JetBrains. I think there should be
Probably.
something.
Yeah, probably, definitely.
Yeah, really cool stuff. And I'm personally interested in that because I was planning to make some wardrobe in my side project, and I was able to extract some meshes from Unity game, but I was not able to get the shaders or other things I need to color those meshes. So probably I will, not probably, I will definitely try this Stress.js on my side. Maybe I'll achieve the success with it. So thanks for sharing it. One more question we have. Which one gave you the empty view template to?
It's not a plugin at all. It's I got it here. It's just a snippet that I created in this code, so you can create your own. So yeah.
Yeah, I think you also can do the same thing in your JetBrains. For example, on the WebStorm, you can even modify and press some combination of buttons, and we will give like template with a script set up or with long TS, everything else. Okay, so do you guys have more questions to Jamie?
That is a good question. Yeah. So yes, we got things to measure the environment. We got even here. I believe even this one can measure. In Nux it can. I don't know if here we got the yeah rough. Okay, no, I don't remember. I know in Nux here you got, but if not, you got here stats. We can import it here. Why not? And just come here just to show you very quickly. The measurement is something that you should always consider because having 3D experience in different devices is something. How can I explain this? Is when you create this 3D experience, you have to always think in, for example, when you are designing the same for a gamer computer and a small mobile, for example, right? So your scene has to be like always trying to be as similar as possible in every device. So yes, performance is always something to be considered. Here you can see I imported use stat component that help us to see how memory we are using, how much of the VRAM, the virtual RAM, that is the one that uses the GPU, the important one in the Texas available, and other stuff. There are other packages dedicated for this, but you have to install it. So yeah, I am not going to show it here.
Cool. By the way, I wanted to ask one thing. Is this Trust.js, I mean components from Trust.js, working fine with the dev tools, like just a simple Vue components?
Yes.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay. Yeah, so thanks again, Jamie. That was really amazing and visually satisfied. So
thanks to you, man. Thank you guys.
Okay, I think we have to move to another speaker. Let me quickly share my screen one more time. Okay, here it is. So the next speaker is Abdelrahman Awad. He's a senior engineer based in Cairo, Egypt. Google developer expert in web technologies, created vValidate and Velus for Vue.js, hosts an Untyped podcast, and one of the organizers of the Egypt.js monthly meetup. Yeah, that's really impressive background. So, Abdelrahman, stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. I will present my screen. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. So if I go over time, let me know, because I don't know exactly how much time I have. Um, so today I'm really excited to talk about Formwerk in Vue Talks, and this is such a great opportunity to show you what this library is capable of. So Formwerk is a form library, just so yet another form library, but it's a little bit different, because you can think of form libraries, or any library really in general, as a spectrum of abstraction. So abstraction levels and how much does it want to do for you, the developer. So you can imagine the Vue ecosystem right now as a spectrum. So on one end, we have something like Vue.js, which is very low level. So it gives you a lot of flexibility, and it's really lightweight. Excuse me. Then you have other libraries like Validate, which is kind of sits somewhat in the middle, not exactly in the middle, but it offers more stuff. But at the same time, it's less flexible and it has more bundle size. Then you have on the other end stuff like Formkit, which is a form library that gives you UI, so it can tackle accessibility, UI, UX, validation, and more. And other libraries like Vueform, and basically pretty much UI libraries sit on that end of the spectrum. So what I noticed with Formwerk is, so I authored both vValidate and Formwerk, and what I noticed is that there is a place in the middle where an abstraction level that doesn't really exist in the Vue ecosystem, because as someone who builds UI libraries or design system in my job, I would really like the flexibility to be able to override UI as much as I want to without really having to switch UI libraries or having to fight the CSS JavaScript of a said library. So Formwerk does that because it's just a composable UI. It doesn't give a composable API. It doesn't give you anything other than just JavaScript. And we will take a look at what it kind of promises to do for you. So first, it's customizable, and it's customizable by omission. So it's not like it offers you a lot of slots, a lot of props, stuff like that. It's just customizable because it doesn't include any UI. There is no markup, there is no styles, no UI at all. There is nothing to override, and it's just JavaScript, something to be plugged in into your existing UI. It is also accessible because it implements all the area guidelines and follows the recommended patterns for every single input type. And yes, all of that without UI as well. And then it also offers interaction. So all the keyboard shortcuts, focus management, and behaviors that your users expect, also without UI. And we'll take a look at how all of that works. And then of course, we have like this internationalization aspect of forms or UI in general, which is, it's more than just translating your UI. It's not just about offering your UI in Spanish or Portuguese or Arabic. There is a lot more involved there, because to build for international audiences, for example, I come from from Arabic-speaking world, and we use RTL, so right to left, and that changes the entire layout and then changes a lot of expectations. For example, you have components like sliders, and you can increment a slider value by tapping the right arrow key, right? But it's flipped in the Arabic language and Hebrew and similar languages. And simply, there is not a lot of UI library, and even the native HTML doesn't cater for that. So there is a lot more involved there, and we'll take a quick look there if I have time. And then we have the typical form developer experience. So basically, that's why you use a form library in the first place, to track your state, validation, to organize your forms, and so on. So since it's just a composable API, who is Formwerk for? So I would say Formwerk is for design system implementers, so people like me who developers looking to build a UI design system in their company. They have a specific brand guidelines they need to follow, and so they can't just use any UI library, right? Also, developers who want to adopt a form library into their own design system or the design components. And yeah, it's really easy to plug in. Also, UI library authors. So if you have a UI library, you don't really have to figure out forms from scratch. You just include it into your forms and you get all the nice stuff without really sacrificing much of your core offering, your core unique experience, right? So any form, any UI library has, I would say, their differentiator is their UI and their experience. And Formwerk really stay out of your way in that regard. So right now, these are the included, supported, and implemented fields in Formwerk: text fields, number fields, radio button, and so on. I won't go through all of them, but pretty much I think we covered most of the form elements covered. We even have OTP fields, file fields, and date calendars, and all of that. So let's take a look at how styling an AI looks when using Formwerk. Basically, you have a bunch of steps here. So each field has an anatomy, which with a few key elements. This is a core assumption in Formwerk. Then, since it's a composable API, we expose prop objects for these key elements. And all you have to do is bind these props to these elements in your own markup and add your own styles, and you are done. So let's take a look at an anatomy like that. So this is a combo box anatomy. It has a label, it has an input, it has a trigger button, it has a description, it has a search query. So that's what defines a combo box, right? And what Formwerk does is it offers objects that you need to bind all these elements into your own UI and just works from there. Let's take a look at a live example. I chose a simpler one, like the text field. So right now we have a text field, and all the script you have to do to get accessibility, to get validation, to get everything related to forms like state and so on is these 3 lines. You import stuff, you define your props, and then you call the composable for that field. And then you notice we expose the input props, label props, error message, and error message props, and we just bind them here on your markup. And then just add your own styles. If you want to use Tailwind, that's fine. And yeah, that's a fully functioning email field. And if I leave, it gets validated, and I don't really have to do anything. That's all the code you need to get this working. So it's mostly you need to just style your fields most of the time. And this leaves a lot of room for you to do more UX stuff or really build your own differentiator here. We just offer the baseline when it comes to form stuff, and you just add your differentiator logic here. Let's take a look at the sliders with Tailwind, because I love Tailwind. I use Tailwind all the time. And yeah, so same thing. We import a couple of stuff and just call these composable. So it's really 5 lines almost of code. And then we bind them. So we bind the group props, we bind the label props, we bind the track props. And then we have a couple of thumb components that you have to create on your own. So all of that is in the documentation. We add our styling. And that's it. We get a fully functioning slider. And it even works with just keyboard. So these with the arrow keys, and I'm switching between them with tabs. And it works, and you would expect it might go over that other thumb, but it doesn't. So Formwerk handles all of that for you. All you have to do is just lay out your UI, lay out your elements. Now let's talk about accessibility. So Formwerk just implements the ARIA guidelines and patterns. It tries to, like we read and researched a lot in terms of what we can do for each input. And some of the inputs doesn't really have any guidelines. So we try to follow what others did in that space and other UI libraries and so on. And it does something really unique here, which is auto-association of labels and inputs. And it is aware of your DOM elements because it's composable, right? So it doesn't know really how you're going to lay out your elements. But once you bind your prop objects to them, it kind of is aware of how it works. So this is a classic combo of a label element using the for attribute pointing to the input with an ID attribute. And this is fine. If you have this setup, Formwerk won't really do any much extra work here. But if you use something else for the label element, like a span, Formwerk is able to understand that, and then it uses aria labeled by, because it knows there is this is the way now to associate the label with the input. But let's say you don't have a label element at all. So Formwerk is also able to do that because it can tell from the label prop object it's not bound to anything, and if it's not bound to anything, then the element doesn't exist. And if it doesn't exist, we can just use the aria label attribute. So it really tries to give you accessibility no matter what you do. Best effort, of course. Now let's talk about interactions. So Formwerk gives you high quality interactions that your users expect, and it has really comprehensive keyboard support for each field. All of that is documented, and you can try them out. Offers focus management. Touch support isn't exactly there yet. It's I mean, it works right now, but we aren't sure if we are missing something or not. So, but as far as I know, all the fields work on mobile devices right now. So let's take a look at an example here. We have the select element, and I have a bunch of to-do lists here to test out a few interactions. So I will just use the keyboard. So I will tap to it. I will open it with the space keeper key, and then I'll move through the list with the arrow keys, and I can then select an option with the enter key or space key. Then you can have kind of like a search. So I type E, and it auto scrolls to the option that you have. And then you have a bunch of other stuff, like you have the int key, and you have the page up and other keys. So all of that's supported for you, and you don't really have to do anything other than do this. That's almost the script you need to do. Of course, there is a little more to that. You have to create an option element. You have to create more. And does it close with escape? I don't really remember, but yeah, it does. So let's talk about IETN now, which is internationalization. And so it is able to detect the locale direction of your website, not the users, the website, through the HTML lang attribute. And it kind of automatically does a few things under the hood. For example, it swaps the arrow key interactions for RTL languages, orientation and attributes and stuff like that. For numbers, Formwerk supports multiple numeral systems and formats them using the Intel API. It's a native API. Date fields, same thing. It supports multiple calendar systems, formats them, and so on. And it integrates really well with Vue ITNN and Next ITNN. We aren't really trying to do anything on our own in that space, so we just play along really well with existing battle-tested libraries in the ecosystem. So let's take a look at what do I mean by numbers and ITNN. So right now we have a number field, and I can amend it by arrow keys or just click here. And then let's play around with it. Let's make it, for example, a currency. So now it has the dollar sign. And let's switch the language. And now it's using Arabic. And this is says GM, which is short for Egyptian pound. And it still works as a number. So, and you as the developer, you get in your model. So if you use vModel or you submit the fields, you don't get this. You get the actual number value that you can submit directly to your backend. So you don't have to really parse them or do anything like that. It's just a visual layer or formatting layer that doesn't really change anything about the state. You can type, let's switch to English. You can type your own value and formats it after you're done. And we can have, let's try units. I think it's hidden down there. So let's use kilobytes, and yeah, it works the same thing. If I switch to another language, this says kilobyte, like you have to take my word for it, but it does say that. So yeah, so it does all of that for you. You don't have to really figure anything out. You can control a few things like the long format, so it says kilobytes and not just kb. And this is all native JavaScript API that we just adapted into the number component. And again, this is all they have to do to get all of that. Of course, you need to add your own styles, but that's the whole premise. So yeah, let's talk about date and calendars. It's actually released for a while now. I haven't updated these slides yet, so you can use this right now. you have a date field that's separated by segments. You can toggle through the segments, increment them, and yeah, just pretty much works. You can type in, so I can do this. You can really do whatever you want here. And then you have a calendar that you can pick from. And Formwerk offers all of these for you. So you don't have to really figure out how to build a calendar. It offers you how to build a calendar. So we have use calendar, we have use date field, and we also have a use time field. Now let's switch the calendar system entirely to the Islamic calendar library, which uses a different kind of a year system. And it changes all the layout for it and everything, but let's change the language because this is where it really shows. So yeah, and all of that is done automatically for you. You don't have to reload the whole page or anything. We can switch the format, and this says Friday as the 6th. Rajab is a month in the Islamic calendar. And yeah, you have support for pretty much anything here that is supported by the HTML spec. And again, this is all you have to do. We have a use calendar, use date field. It's renamed from this slide, but you can use that to build all of that, and documentations really have a lot of examples around that. Now, let's quickly go through the form.js, and what we offer is state tracking, submission handling. So this is standard in all form libraries. We also have nested field support, like groups, arrays, and so on. We have a concept of control DOM and control fields. For example, you have a switch that really toggles if a field should be there or not, and you don't really have to submit that value. So it's called uncontrolled. We have support for multi-layer validation, so you can use both HTML validation and standard schemas like Zod, value bot, and archetype, and anything really that implements the standard schema spec. And it aggregates the state for you, so you can tell which fields are dirty, which fields are touched, and more. Of course, all of that is type safe, and submitted data is type safe, and it auto scrolls automatically for you to the first invalid field after submission, and you can disable that. And it has submitted data consumable API, so you can consume the submitted data as a plain object, which is, I would say, the most common thing. JSON, if you want to just put it in a fetch request, or form data if you want to send files along the way. And it also has Vue DevTools. This is, I haven't updated this yet. It's already supported. It's already out, so you can debug your fields. And let me give you a quick look at control fields. So we follow the HTML kind of way of doing that. If a field has a name attribute, then it's controlled. If it doesn't, then it's not controlled anymore. And then it doesn't, its value and validation state doesn't really affect the form anymore. Now, and you can use vmodel then to track that field specific state. So with validation, with schema validation, we have implemented, we were like the third library to implement standard schema. And that means we already support these three. I'm sure there are more. I think there is a PR for YEP. And yeah, it's all, I guess, coming together. So this is an example with Zod, and yeah. This is an example with Valibot, and it works. You don't really have to have a resolver or anything. You just throw in your schema, whether it's Valibot or Zod or archetype, and it just keeps working. And you get type safety throughout the whole experience. DevTools is not really work in progress. It's already supported. It's already out, so you can check the field states and debug your forms, check if there is an error, and stuff like that. The roadmap, I did update this slide. So right now we have multi-step forms currently being cooked in the kitchen. There is a lot to figure out there, so I'm still the date may change. We hope to implement starter kits, which are just components that already implement with Formwerk that you can use as a base layer that you can just start with. You can override their styles and just get a really good looking form library. So we are aiming for a V1 by May, end of May or June. And we'd love to have your ideas, suggestions, contributions, and more. I would love to thank Amr and Eugene for their contributions throughout the history of this library. They did really impactful stuff and shipped a lot of improvements there. And yeah, you can check the documentation, formwerk.dev, and that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you. Amazing topic. I wonder what is the things behind the name of the library? Is that like a different combination, like a work word or something else behind that?
I was just, I think when I came up with the name last year, I was in Germany then, and so Formwerk, it means like a form factory kind of thing. So like work as in works, and so it's a factory, I guess. I may have gotten it wrong, but that's the name anyways.
Yeah, thank you. We have one question from John Lader. Does this have ESM in browser support so that it can be used in places like play.Vue.js.org?
I haven't tested that at the moment. It's definitely on our to-do list, but I haven't tested whether that works or not. But I'm sure it works with stuff like esm.sh because I have tried that and I think it works. We use that in the documentation, actually.
Thank you for the answer. Okay, do you have more questions, guys? Because validation is really something we are dealing with every day in our projects. And
I have a question. I typed it in, but maybe it's not visible. Could you explain more the option that you said controlled versus uncontrolled?
Yeah, sure. So controlled fields are fields that get submitted. You send these values to your server eventually. Uncontrolled fields are fields that just do other jobs in the UI. For example, you have a switch, and if that switch is on, then it enables a couple of other fields, like other two fields show up because that field is enabled. You don't really want to submit the Boolean state of that switch, right? So that is what uncontrolled is. It just doesn't get included in the form data, and it doesn't get included in the validation state. So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, last question, is it open source? Yes, it is open source. Yeah, I will put in the link in the chat.
amazing. So just another thing I want to try after the meetup.
Yeah, please do.
Okay, so thank you again, Abdelrahman, and let's move forward. And as a tradition, last one will be me. I'm a senior developer in Epicmax, so I also love some open source and love to make some pet projects just for fun. And yeah, we got really amazing topics today. So I have to remind you some interesting and important thing in Vue.js world and not in only in that. Let me quickly share my other tab here. Okay, so do you see it? I hope so. Okay, what was new? What the key updates, trends, and some insights from developers world in April 2022. So in my agenda, in my topics today, I have 3 topics actually. I have to remind you about Vapor mode in Vue 3.6. Another cool thing is that Pinia 3.0 was officially announced as a state management solution for Vue.js, and also Firebase Studio as a new modern IDE using AI. And the last one, small bonus from me. So Vapor 3.6, as previously discussed, Vue.js has been working on an exciting new feature called Vapor mode, which is now closer than ever to official release. To quickly recap and remind you, Vapor mode is designed to enhance the efficiency and performance of Vue applications by bypassing the traditional virtual DOM and directly updating the real DOM. So this method greatly reduces the overhead associated with the DOM updates, enabling applications to render faster and use less memory, which is particularly valuable for intensive tasks like real-time dashboards or interactive gaming interface or whatever else. So recent benchmarks continue to confirm impressive performance gains thanks to LN signals, validating the potential Vapor mode has for real-world applications. On the graph there, you can see that the green one is the Vue 3.4, and the pink one is LN signals. So the term LN signals playfully describes Vue 3.6 revamped reactivity system, which adapts the fine-grained signal-based approach inspired by frameworks like Svelte or Solid.js. This system tracks dependencies in a more granular level, ensuring that the component affected by a state, a change, and re-rendered. As this approaches final release, developers are encouraged to test Vapor mode in controlled environments and gauge its performance improvements and ensure compatibility with existing applications. The Vue team is actively seeking community feedback to address any remaining challenges and to fine-tune Vapor mode before making it a stable feature. Ultimately, Vapor mode represents Vue.js' continued focus on performance optimization, offering developers advanced tools to create highly responsible and efficient web experiences. Let's move forward. The next one is, let's talk about Pinia 3.0, which is now endorsed as a Vue.js primary state management solution, taking over from Vuex. Pinia emerged due to developers' growing frustration with the complexity and verbosity of Vuex. The new library emphasizes simplicity, modularity, and easy to use. It introduced a more intuitive API, significantly reducing boilerplate code and making it easier, especially for the developers new to state management. One standard feature in Pinia 3.0 is exceptional TypeScript integration, providing strong typing and enhanced development time and error detection, improving overall code readability. Pinia also supports advanced features like HMR, allowing developers to see state changes in real time during development without losing their app states. Another key benefit is seamless integration with Vue dev tools, providing comprehensive debugging capabilities right out of the box. Pinia's modular architecture allows for better organization and scalability, enabling teams to structure the application clearly and efficiently as projects grow. Okay, let's move to the last one. I mean, it shouldn't be last one, but it will be last one for today. I just found this funny thing. If you guys remember, there was some game which called GeoGuessr, where you have to understand where are you based on the location in Google Maps. So there is a guy that created another funny game here, which called Which Year, is just showing you the picture, the photo, and you have to guess your the year when photo was made. So maybe it will just help you to spend some time on your coffee breaks with teams. So I hope you guys will try it and you will like it. And that's actually all I have for today for you guys. Hope you got those topics. So I just want to remind you that if you guys want to participate in our Vue.js Talks, you just need to write a letter on our email that will be dropped just in the chat. And yeah, hope you like our JS Talks. Again, thanks, big thanks for our speakers today. Thanks to Jaime, thanks to Abdelrahman, and thank you other guys for participating then and asking questions. I hope you got some really useful information from today's talk. See you on the next one, number 9. Bye, guys.